Well, hello, and welcome everybody to ZBrush Live. This is Kermaco Designworks, hard surface and character sculpting, I guess. I should give this show some sort of a more brand aware name, and so it rolls off the tongue instead of what I have now. But anyway, just as usual, if anybody can let me know in the chat if you can see my screen and hear me okay, and if everything's coming across right. Um, I was feeling a little under the weather, and luckily I'm feeling better now. My voice might give out at some point. It probably sounds a little weird. But yeah, so if somebody, oh, here we go. Yeah, hey, Strawberry King again. Strawberry King, you can hear me okay, I guess? Why wouldn't there be a king of strawberries? Right? Okay, so I think you can. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. And all right, let's go ahead and get started. So definitely like the video when it is on YouTube. It makes a big difference. I appreciate it when you do. Subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with what I'm doing, in addition to plenty of other amazing and talented ZBrush artists that stream. And leave a comment if you have any questions or whatever. You can leave them in the comments. We'll answer them. And if you have questions while I'm on live, you can always ask live. Okay, and with that, I will go ahead and get to it. All right, so we're still working on this guy over here. And let's go ahead and hide the character. I still have not organized any of these subtools yet, but I will eventually. So we go props, and I think the character is selected. Here we go. All right, another thing I want to do real quick here is make the background a little bit lighter, so it's not as dark. Maybe something like this. Okay, and all right. I haven't spent any time on this at all, so it's exactly how we left it last time, which I guess is a good thing, and we can continue on from here. I think one of the things I want to do is, I think this is all just one piece. What I wanted to do is have this swivel the other way as well. So, what this does, this kind of elbow joint over here, is bend this up and down arm, but it also needs to rotate the other way. So I need to put another one of these types of things over here as well. So let's do that, and that one will probably be pointing the other way and be connected to this one. Right? And to do that, I will go ahead and use my 135 cylinder kit bash kit, which I have over here to the right. And let's go ahead and find just a simple shape. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to simplify my life a little bit and go to my just normal kit bash kit and just pick a cylinder 16, which is kind of a low res cylinder, and go ahead and draw that out. It doesn't really matter how I'm drawing it out. Well, it kind of does. Let me just do this differently. I'm going to go ahead and insert a Polymesh 3D, and I'm going to just hit W for the gizmo and choose the cylinder, which will replace that star with one of these guys. Okay, I have perspective on. Let's turn that off, and I'm going to rotate it this way. Oh, all right. So see, what's happening here is, if this happens to you, it's probably because you were using the cloth cloth gizmo before. So if your gizmo is not acting the way it should, just make sure that you are on the regular transpose and not on transpose cloth as a brush. All right. Let's do this one more time. There it is, and rotate it this way, sideways. Let's turn transparency on so we can see inside, and this is going to go over here like this and be connected to this. other cylinder and rotate it. So let's just make it so it just fits within this area, right, like that. And all right, and now I just need to figure out, I mean, this is going to be substantial, so it's got to be a pretty big cylinder. It's almost, you know, I'm almost thinking, is it still on the cloth transpose? No, it's a normal transpose. I'm just going to reset the brush just to make sure. Another thing to do also is always, let me solo this out. Yeah, there it is. If your brush is not acting correctly, you can always say reset current brush, and so now I know that it's going to work fine, right? Okay. And then let's see, if I make this bigger, is it just going to be obnoxious? Yeah, let's see. No, I don't think that's going to work right. I'll just make it longer. And yeah, it could just originate there. So that's where this is going to go. But now if I turn off transparency, we barely see it. And I mean, it would be cool if this was inside, but it would even be cooler if it was outside. So let me see what I can do here with these pieces to accommodate for that cylinder that we just put in there. Oh, I should go back and duplicate that. Just so I have a symmetric version of it. So there it is. Again, transparency, this. I'm going to mirror and weld it to the other side because we need one on each side. Okay, I've got another person, Hossein. Hello. Hello back. Thanks for joining us live. All right, and so now I'm, let me turn on symmetry as well. Now I just kind of have to position this thing where I need it to go. I kind of like to go to the middle of the cylinder. That's kind of where that goes. And a lot of this stuff that I'm doing is from experience of using or working on real life robots. So I did a commercial for Toyota. I worked on a commercial for Toyota. I didn't do it all myself, of course. I worked on a commercial for it. And one of the things I worked on was the actual CAD representation of that Toyota robot. So I know how these things work, as well as kind of have my own science fiction kind of background where I also know how it works. Okay, so this piece right here, I think for now I can just move it over up to here. Let's move it inwards as well so it doesn't kind of create a wide berth. And so this is the piece that I kind of need to, what happened to the cylinders? They're visible. Oh, transparency is on. That's right. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do with this, you can see that this is kind of a lot of different pieces. So let's kind of separate those out. So let's go for these guys over here, split hidden. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to change my control and shift to be selection, right? So here we go. I don't really need these guys, but where is the rest of it? It's right here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with the arms, and I'm probably not going to use any of these just as a disclaimer here, but I am definitely going to use them as placeholders and either place other pieces in their place, or sometimes maybe even modify them. It's weird, there's one pixel here that's not the same color. Let's fix that. I don't think it matters, but why not, just for consistency's sake. And here, like, I'm pretty sure I'll keep this piece. I'm pretty sure I'll keep some of these. So let's just keep these ones and split hidden. All right, so these are the pieces. These two are the pieces I'm going to accommodate that cylinder with. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I probably am going to cough a few times. I should have had some cough drops on hand, but that's fine. If I need to, I'll just go get them. Okay. All right, so how do we, let's see if I move these out of the way completely. All right, so I still don't see the cylinders. They're still kind of inside. because these pieces are there. And if I move these, I'm just going to move these to the front, and there are my cylinders. All right, just switch back to white here. Okay, so there are the cylinders, and now I have to figure out a way to incorporate these cylinders into what I have. And also, I'm going to be replacing those cylinders too. So I'm just going to see if moving these down will do it, or maybe move these up. I think up is too much. Down, maybe I do this to them. Move them down further. I think that's kind of working a little bit, but it's going to hinder these arms coming inwards, which is not what I want. So let's move these in a little bit like that. Okay. Well, what if I do this? What if I don't, leave them like that and then move them in this way? There we go. That works. That works really well, actually. All right, and with this part right here, I think the back isn't really doing much. So I'm going to try doing something here, which is mirroring it in the Z direction and X. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. All right, let's see what that does. Works in the front, works in the back as well. I think that's good enough right there. All right, that worked out. All right. Keep using my mouse. I need to remember to get to my tablet. It's a lot easier. All right, I'm going to activate symmetry in Z here too, because this is a dual symmetrical object. And it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but I'm just doing that specifically for these parts. These kind of parts that are going up. All right, that's good. All right, now let's see what I can do with these guys now. All right, I think that's looking okay. How's everybody doing? Weather in LA is nice and warm now. It's actually really hot today. Unbearably so a little bit. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm actually wearing my Monsterpalooza ZBrush t-shirt that I wore I think last year or the year before. I don't remember when I did a demo at Monsterpalooza. I still don't know if I'm going tomorrow. I didn't get a ticket in time, and also the Saturday ones are sold out, and I guess if I go there I could probably get one, but I don't want to wait in line and deal with all that, so I might miss it this year, which is fine. It's always fun to go because you always, besides seeing all the amazing stuff there, it's good to catch up with friends and whatnot, but we'll see. I have a friend of mine still trying to get me a pass, so we'll see how that works out tomorrow. I should know either tonight or tomorrow morning. Either way, I've got plenty of stuff to do if that doesn't work out. Okay, so this is looking good. Now these cylinders are looking pretty boring, so let's see if these guys can help make it less boring from the bottom. And maybe go this way, like that. Here we go, it's already working. And again, these are just simple shapes that I'm using right now just to, formulate some sort of a look. And again, the thing is with concept design, it doesn't have to work. It's not like engineering. This doesn't have to work. However, it does have to look like it does work. And a lot of times, the engineers will take this as inspiration to build what they're working on. I don't think there's any situation where they're like, yeah, it has to be like this. Engineers figure it out. Except maybe at Apple. I think Apple does that. I think Johnny Ive decides what the design elements are going to be, and well, he doesn't work there anymore. I think he just signed some sort of a deal with OpenAI. So, but he, he used to be very, he and Steve Jobs used to be very kind of demanding on exactly what they wanted the designs to be for an iPhone, and it's kind of paid off, I guess. I use one, and the design has always been top notch. I don't just use one now, I've used one for years, so I do like it. I also like the design of the iPad. So they've done some really smart things. I think Apple is very adamant about very specific things in design, which probably cost them a lot more money to make the types of phones that they make. But on the flip side, I think you can't dispute the fact that their design is top-notch, functional, and does what it claims to do. All right. Okay, this is looking really cool. I'm very much enjoying the lines that this has, and this back part's kind of worked out as well. Forgot to turn off Z symmetry. The front is fine. The back, I think, just kind of could look better if it was more like this. All right, getting there, getting there, getting there. Liking what's going on. In a lot of ways. All right. I am going to Clithgar. That's an awesome name. Hey, yeah. Hello, and yeah, I definitely, Lightbox I won't miss. Lightbox is definitely one of those events I won't miss, and I've been meaning to kind of have a table there this whole time, and for some reason I don't sign up on time, and I probably could. I could probably contact Bobby and let him know, hey, can I get a table or whatever, but it takes a while to get ready, and I do have posters, and I do have t-shirts, and I do have stuff I could sell that I've had for a while, and so one of these years I'll have a table, I promise. But I will definitely be attending Lightbox, and I'll probably be attending at least Saturday, if not more of the other days. I usually attend Monsterpalooza too. I like both of these events, and I do. And the other person was asking, do I make monster stuff as well? Yeah, I do. I do make monster stuff as well. I mean, the funny thing is, a lot of artists are very kind of fixed in what they do, and as far as I'm concerned, I can do monsters, I can do whatever. I'm not very tied down to a specific thing. What's interesting is before I did this, I had a little bit of time to play around, and I was kind of creating a very interesting looking character head, which, if you saw that somewhere, you would never think it would be me making it, right? But I do, and I guess this would be a good time to tell you that I do have a channel, which a YouTube channel as well, and I'll just go to it. Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. Let me see here if I can go back. Okay, yeah, no, that was right. I do have a YouTube channel as well, and it's youtube.com/user/Kermaco. And if you go there, I stream every other Friday for Maxon, for ZBrush Live, which I enjoy doing. But I'm also doing another the other Friday that I'm not streaming here. I stream on Twitch, and then after the stream is done that night or the following morning, what I do is I download the video onto YouTube. So if you don't watch it live, you can always go to YouTube the following day or whatever. So here's kind of a dragon I'm working on. So let me mute the volume here. So this is kind of like a dream within a dream kind of thing. But you can see here that it's kind of like a monster, I guess, because it is a dragon, right? So. And I don't know if you would consider a dragon a monster or whatever. I will give you my Twitch handle, Cliffgar, and I'll give you all that information. But you know what's really interesting is that I started making the dragon, and then I'm like, okay, well, I want to make a writer for the dragon, and I had a dead Sunday, so then I made a whole new character for that as well. So you can see me make a character, you can see me make a dragon or a monster, you can see me make mechs. I'm pretty versatile. So the question that you asked was what was my Twitch handle, and my Twitch handle is here. So the best thing to do if you don't do already is go to Instagram.com/Kermaco, which is my Instagram, and this is where I post stuff. This is an experiment I was working on just so I could take it into Substance Painter and kind of get this like dark metallic texture going. And now that I have that, I can use it for other things. But anyway, the reason why I'm saying go to my Instagram is, first of all, follow, right? So I can get some more followers. That would be awesome. And then you can see the stuff I'm working on. My stuff on Instagram is my latest and greatest. And besides that, there's my link tree, right? If you click on my link tree, it will show you all of my links. So you were asking about my Twitch handle. It's right here. You can just go to it. And there it is. So it's twitch.tv/Kermaco, Kermaco. And so whenever I do my stream, I think it stays here for a while and then goes away. But I do download it. And I do put it on my YouTube channel. So if you don't see me live, you can always go to my YouTube channel and watch it there. And while I'm here, if you are in my, if you go to the link tree here, you can always click on my Gumroad, and if you haven't already, you can download my free IMM brush. So this one has 17 brushes, or 17 primitives, sorry. And then I do have one that's for pay, which gives you 36 pro primitives. The only reason why these are pro, well, it's a couple of things. One is, most people won't use anything beyond what's here, but this is kind of a way to give me a tip in a way, and also it does have some extra shapes. And if you're wondering what those extra shapes are and if you need them, I actually have an image here. These are ones that I use all the time, so I just put them in my primitives kit. That's the one I use all the time. And this is also where I have my UI colors, so if you guys want to use the same UI colors in ZBrush that I have, you can just download those. Those are free as well. And if you are somebody who uses a lot of cylindrical shapes, or you work on hard surface stuff, I've made a really cool cylindrical kit bash kit. You can look at it here. I've got a YouTube video that goes over it a little bit. And yeah, I mean, these are most of them are low res, but there are some high res one as well, pieces as well. I basically try to keep it as low res as possible, but I also there's a certain amount of polygons you need to get a certain shape. So that's that, and yeah, and my Linktree has the link to all my other stuff, my portfolio, my ArtStation, all that good stuff, so you can just go there and check it out. Okay, so hopefully that that helps. All right, so back to this. All right. Okay, so I like what's going on here, but I think it needs something else, so we'll come back to that. But let's go back to the cylinders here. I don't really see that much of them, so I don't have to worry about the kind of the edges, but I do have to worry about what is showing on these sides. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the 135 piece thing that I have, and let's see here. I think I'm going to pick this guy. Let's see, did I do it? Yes. All right, press W, and let's get this kind of locked into the middle. And I can always just press this button that will replace it with the other piece. So here it did, but it's just really small. And I can just kind of try and do this, which is kind of a pain. I could also go in here under geometry and size and just make it bigger this way. It's still pretty small for whatever reason. If you run into that, you can always just click on Unify, which I have here somewhere. Where are you, Unify? I have it on my UI, but it's over to the right. I guess I can just scroll over. There it is. I don't know why the text is bigger. I think, oh, because I upgraded to this new version. Let me check something here real quick. Interface, button size 42. No, that's right. I don't know why it's bigger. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'll just choose that. Okay, so now it is the size I want it to be. I'm going to rotate it this way. All right, and I think it should be, oh no, it's too small. So I'm just going to unify it, and that makes it bigger. And let's do this, unify one more time. All right, that's good. Let's see what that looks like with everything else. It moved it, which is kind of frustrating, but not that big of a deal. I can get it back to where I need it. And I should have local symmetry on and dynamic off. Local on, dynamic off. And make these bigger, something like that. Now I can make these longer. Let's see if that works. And that kind of creates an interesting type of thing for it. I'm going to change my material. I've got a toon type material. I'm going to go back to Monster Clay Gray. I really like these 3 Monster Clay materials that were added to ZBrush. They're pretty neat. Okay, and I think this is looking like it's doable, but it also is looking like they're kind of too thick. I'm going to make them thinner. And maybe, let's see. All right, I think that kind of creates some sort of a thing that says that these rotate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn on polyframe and go to these guys and solo it out. All right, so now you can see that these are polygrouped in such a way where I can modify certain things, and what I want to do here is I want to mask these ones, and I want to make this a little bit bigger like that, right? So, you know, doing things like that with my Kit Bash kit is pretty easy to do. Let's see if this works. Unpolyframed, and right, so now I'm discovering that it does work, but I like what's happening here. I don't know if I like what's happening on the other side of it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here and I am going to just split the mask points just for kicks, and split mask points. All right, so I just have that. Before I do that, I want to add some edge loops over here. Again, these are all, you know, good geometry, so I can very easily go in here and insert an edge loop this way, right? And because I do want this lip, and I want to put one over here, and for good measure, let's put one in the center. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and split the mask points, and I don't know why it's deciding to include these ones that I just added into the mask section. Not to worry, I can just go in here and say mask poly loop and do this one. I think what I'm going to do is just reselect it. I think that might just be easier to do, or I can just delete this. Yeah, I think that might be the best way to go. Delete poly loop this way, and all right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do split to similar parts. Oh yeah, there's the inside part too, I forgot. So this is, you know, it's kind of a hole inside, so I need to take care of that as well. All right, just delete this poly loop like that. All right, so now I've got 2 separate pieces, and again, this is what's great about this Kit Bash kit is you can, you know, like you can start out with something that looks completely different, but since the topology is there, you can make all sorts of interesting things with it. Here I'm just adding a few more loops just to kind of balance it out like that, and the inside part is good. So now I'm just going to go ahead and say split to similar parts, and okay, and so now I've got that and that, and they're 2 separate parts. Now the inside part I don't really care about. I could have deleted it, but I just left it there just for kicks. So I think that's, where is that part? I think Are they these ones? No, these ones, these ones. Okay, so I can hide those, right? I kind of like this sense of it having, you know, this being kind of its border. Why are there two of these? That's weird. Okay. Seems like I've got two sets. Maybe did I put two in? It doesn't matter. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in and pick this one and choose it, and then the other one, for some reason, I don't know why there's two of them, I'm going to delete, and then on the inside part there's two as well. I'm going to delete one of those, and so now I've got what I want. And I like this kind of outside part. I think that's kind of a cool design, but I need to create another thing on the inside. However, I don't like the fact that there's this hole here. If I turn double on, you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this hole and I'm hoping that this will work. Let's try it. I'm just going to do the bridge function. So bridge, I'm going to do two holes, and I'm going to bridge from here to here, and let's see what that gives us. I think it complained somehow, but let's try it again. Nope. How come it's not doing it? Is there anything hidden? Delete hidden. Okay, I guess there was something hidden, which is odd, but let's do this. Okay, here we go. It's kind of messy. All right, let's not do that. So the other way I can get around this problem is I'm just going to go here and say extrude and mesh border and just create a lip. And that's all I need because there's going to be something in here. Now, this is pretty free moving. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is have it be perpendicular. So let's do that as well. And now I know it's exactly perpendicular. And all I want is just a little bit of a lip like this. And so I need a bigger lip, but I think the problem is that these edges are touching each other. And so I'm thinking of what a good way to solve this is. Now I can always, again, if I don't really care about the topology on the inside, I can always do the close here and close this. And it's just going to fill, yeah, that's not going to work either. Well, another thing I could do is I can try the bridging now and see if it does any better. It's probably not going to. I don't know why I'm so optimistic about it. Yeah, it's just going to create something. I think it does okay until it gets close, but it does give me a bit of a lip that I like. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to delete this poly loop. Whoa. Like that. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to do this one, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. That's not a big deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and select these two, and I'm going to do a little bit of selection here. Man. All right, so I guess I can do the, let's see if this works. So polygroup, flat island. Let's polygroup all these into one group. That works. That's good. And I mean, they're a little bit like there's a little bit of weird kind of stuff going on here, but I can fix that as well. Let me do this. I'm gonna just select that, invert it. Okay, and what's weird is like what's happening on the other side is kind of very strange. So I'm going to go ahead and say delete by symmetry, and hopefully it's going to be the right, cannot be, okay. I'm just going to do this without symmetry, delete hidden. All right, back to this. All right, so I think, the thing about this part right here, I wonder if delete polygroup all, I don't know if I have more of this anywhere else, so that solves that problem. And then there are all these other red ones over here. So the way to solve that is I'm just going to isolate this, do this, and how to do that. All right, there's a couple of ways to do it. I think this probably would be the easiest way to do it. I know you guys are asking some questions. I'll get to it in just a minute here. So pardon my, I'm trying to figure this out. So what I want to do is get rid of all these kind of like things that are happening over there. And I think the way to do it is this. I'm just going to, yeah, this could get tedious to do every single little one of them, so I have to figure out a smarter way to do it. I think the smarter way to do it is just to delete this poly loop right here. Select this, Control-Shift-A, and delete hidden, and they're gone, and that solves that problem. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to do that same thing I did earlier, which is extrude mesh border. And do this. Okay, that works. And then I'm just going to delete this poly loop. Ooh, does it cross over? It does. Okay. All right, so instead of doing mesh border, I'm just going to do edge loop complete and just do it this way. And again, I don't really care about connecting them. I just care that there is some sort of a lip there. And what I also want to do is I want to take this and mask it, invert the mask, and I want to relax these because they're kind of impacted. They're on top of each other. I don't like the way it is. And again, I don't really need to do any of this stuff. I just do it because I want to you know, get something that's topologically better, and I want these to be equidistant just in case I need to sculpt on it or whatnot. And this is exactly what I need, and perfect. I got what I needed. And now, well, what's this on the other side? How is this all duplicated? All right, I don't need these ones, right? Let's make sure we delete the right one. No, this is the one I need, but what about the other one? Okay, this is the good one, and what's the other one here? Oh. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it's going to go away. All right, so then I just have this, and then I'll mirror and weld it on the other side. No, not locally. Okay, so we're where we want to be. I'll turn polyframe off. Okay, so I've got this kind of border here for what I'm going to be putting in. It's a lot of work to just get this, but I think it will definitely be worth it. Okay, so now I got to adjust these guys to accommodate this new thing that I added. I don't want it to fight it. Actually, I want it to be complementary, so I just need to move these guys to... You know, I'll probably be refining this further. I just don't want it to interfere with what I'm doing. And let's turn transparency on. Let me see if I can just smash these down. Something like that. All right, and then as soon as I'm done doing what I'm doing right now, I'll get to the questions and what you guys are saying, because I enjoyed that. Okay. Love giant robots. Ruby cool. Yeah, man. Me too. All right. Hello from New Hampshire, I guess. I started with ZBrush. Any suggestions on a course to do? Gosh, there's so much, and there's so much that's bad. So I totally get why you're asking that question. So a couple of things. One is, let me ask you some questions. One is, are you a person who is good about learning on your own? Meaning, are you disciplined enough to kind of create a regiment for yourself to learn something? You know, do you need supervision? Like, you know, if you look at exercise, like, do you need a personal trainer? Do you need somebody to tell you, you know, like to tell you, hey, you're doing this right, you're not doing this right? You know, if you get stuck, they help you or whatever. Do you need somebody like that, or are you self-sufficient? Some weird stuff. What is this? Oh. It's part of the arm. So if you answer that question, I can SG 101. I can help you. I can help you with that. I can help you further, but you need to answer that question for me. Are you somebody who is okay with learning on your own, or would you rather have a teacher or somebody who helps you along on the way? And depends on how you answer is what resources I will tell you to look at. All right, I'm trying to bring this over. It's even closed. Yeah, it is. Okay. I know there's a little bit of a delay. I'll just wait for your answer. But yeah, there's plenty of resources to learn ZBrush, and there's a lot of really good ones, and there's a really lot of really bad ones, unfortunately. I think partially I'm really frustrated because there are people that just want to make money. So what they do is they go watch some tutorial in ZBrush, and then they go like, yeah, you know, I can do that too, and they make a tutorial of their own, and they don't really understand the topics, or they don't do the homework. They just take whatever they learned from somebody who's really good teacher, and then try to do their own. And there's so many of those, and I can talk more about those. So, for example, I know for a fact that Gnomon Workshop, on which I have some tutorials, does a really good job of having the best. Like they have a good editorial process. They have people that know what they're doing, looking at these videos and okaying them. So usually they have good videos. But if you go to something like a Udemy or what are some of the other ones? There's so many different ones where there's like, you know, you go to them and there's like 5,000 ZBrush tutorials. And they're all kind of, you know, copies of stuff that these people have seen other places. And they're not good. They're just not good good tutorials. And also they basically are taking money away from the people that are making good tutorials. So I would try to kind of steer clear of those guys and go with people that, you know, you look at their work, you like their work, and then find if they do tutorials, and then you can learn from their tutorials. But there's a lot of garbage out there, really. It's sad. And then, you know, even besides that, if you go on YouTube, there's so much, right? So on ZBrush Live, they tend to pick good artists. So, you know, if you're learning from ZBrush Live and that's good for you, that's great. But I know that that could be intimidating if you're just starting out. So you probably want to do something else there. All right, so we have the base, and now what we want to do is we want to create another cylindrical shape that can go in there. So we go back to these guys. Let's see if I can find something. And so if you look at my kit bash kit, there are some that are more, you know, they're more kind of like the sides are what matter, like this one, for example, or this one, where there's like circles in it. But let's go ahead and see if I can find one that would work. There's a bunch of them towards the end that are pretty cool. And I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to use one of these guys. Maybe not there. All right, let's see if I can find some good piece. Here we go. Like this one or this one would be good, but let's do this one. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing where we, actually I can just pick this and duplicate it. And in the duplicate, I just will pop in one of those shapes that I thought would work. Again, it's really small. I'm going to unify it. There it is. Now it's jumbo. Part of my strategy of wanting to do it the way I did it is just because I wanted it to align with the other cylinder, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with ease. A best way to do it is probably just go in and go into one of these views. I'll pick V6 here and just have these two visible. And now I can, you know, eyeball it. I mean, if I wanted this to be more precise, I could do it, but I think this is good enough. If I was doing this for a movie or a game or something like that, I would have taken the trouble to make sure that these are aligned. But here it doesn't really matter. All right, that's good. So it goes in this way. Let's weld it to the other side. Do I have local symmetry on? Nope. Okay, so I've got one on the other side now, and I will go ahead and go back to the view where I can see everything. Okay, that's good. And what I want to do here is I want to mask this part and extend this out. All right, I don't have symmetry on. One more time, but with more intensity. Okay, here it is, and I'll do this. Let's look at it from the top. All right, let's see if this works. Kind of does, kind of doesn't, but I know I can do a few things to make it work. Background is very time consuming. Yep, I only watch the ones that are really short and straight to the point. Yeah, so once you get to a certain level of using the program, that's exactly it. If you want to do something, you just go on there, and Mike Pavlovich has great videos. Pablo Munoz Gomez has some great videos. There's quite a few people that have like snippets of exact things that you would need. But if you're just starting out, I think that might not work for you. If you're just starting out, you might need something that kind of gets you into it. So Kilthar is saying, what is the end goal of this project? Well, I mean, it's just I'm gonna let that autosave just because I haven't saved it all, and we're about 50 minutes into this thing, and it would suck to lose it all. The end goal of this project is it's just a concept sculpt. So I basically want this robot. You know, I'll probably do some renders of it or whatever, and it's just a concept sculpt. Now, if this concept sculpt is, you know, if somebody wants to use it in a game or a movie or something like that, then I would probably need to do a little bit more work on it to retopo it, at least if it's for a game or if it's going to be an Unreal Engine or whatnot. If it's going to be in a movie, it's not that critical that I retopo it. So, but for my purposes for now, basically all I want to do is make this, you know, make the design of the robot and do some renders of it. And I think that's going to be kind of the end all be all for that. Okay, so now this is good. And the only thing I want to do here is make sure that this is kind of lining up. So you can see here that this is really not centered. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just move these two. I'm going to go W, turn on the pizza boxes, and do a selection. Now let me get back to selection here. Okay, so this is working, but why is it not allowing me to select? Do I have transparency on? No. That's odd. It should work. What I'm trying to do now is I'm just trying to select just these two and move them, and for some reason ZBrush is not cooperating. Why are you not cooperating, ZBrush? What have I done incorrectly, or what is the reason why this is not working? Right. right, let's do this. One more time. Yeah, it's for some reason the pizza boxes are not working. And I wonder why. All right, let's just turn that off and on again. Let's see if this works now. Nope. Very strange. All right, well, there's a different way of doing, well, I want to move them together. Okay, I'm just going to use a different way of doing it, which I'm just going to merge these two and just do it that way. There are different ways of doing the same thing, so I'm just going to, let's just make sure I'm on the right one. Let's see, I'm glad I checked. This one, merge down. Okay, all right, so now these are all the same part. And now I just want to make sure I move them into where they need to go. Let's turn pizza boxes off for now. And I was going to do this exact same thing without the kind of the pizza boxes, but it didn't work out. Okay, and this would be a good opportunity for me to try something that I was thinking about as well, which is, what if I flip these around? Would that work better? And the answer is absolutely yes. I think this looks better this way. And I'm not really caring about this here. I'll just make my life a little bit easier here because I don't have symmetry on. I'll just delete hidden. And I'll just do one side first. So here I'm just trying to figure out how this will work better. So I hope that that answer is okay with you about like what the goal of this is. I mean, it just basically it's me just doing designs, and this will probably go into my portfolio at some point, and it will just be one more robot I have. So if I do get a job somewhere, you know, and they say we need a humanoid robot, and I actually had something very similar to what I'm doing here, which was for a pitch for which was for a pitch for a Love, Death, and Robots episode. And I had a very similar robot. Now, if that opportunity comes to me again, I have something already made, right? Or if I can show them this and they'll be like, well, we like it, but we don't like this, that, or the other, and then I can modify it instead of starting it from scratch. All right. So there is a part of this that I want to have. Yeah, here we go. All right, that looks a little bit more along the lines of what I want right there. All right, so now that that works, let's mirror and weld it to the other side. Okay, that's good. And then I'm just going to separate them out. So split to similar parts. Okay, and then let's see if I can move this out just a little bit. All right, I think that's good. And then one more thing I want to do with this one is I want to create a little lip. Again, it's good topology, so that's easily done. Let me activate symmetry here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use slice curve and just drop one here. I don't know if that, does that work with symmetry? It doesn't. It doesn't work symmetrically. All right, delete by symmetry. I'll just do one side. And then just duplicate it over. So what I want to do is I just want to create an edge loop going this way. And did that work? No, because it's masked. All right, let's do it one more time. Okay, and I want to do one more. Like it's going to go this way. All right, let me solo this out and then zoom in on it. And what I want to do is I want to take this and QMesh polyloop it out or inwards, this one. QMesh and polyloop, and then push this one in. One more, oops. Don't know why it wants to go in both directions. That is very strange. All right, well, I can do the same thing I want to do in a different way. I'll just insert a couple edge loops, one this way. I guess somewhere some points got intersected. I think that's what happened. All right, so that doesn't matter. I wonder if this will work. Bevel. Nope. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And then one more thing I want to do is take, I'm going to insert another edge loop over here. Now, if you hold shift when you insert the edge loop, it straightens it out. And what I want to do here is I want to, non-symmetrical. Oh, that's why it's confused, because symmetry is on. Okay, ZBrush. Thank you for notifying me. All right, and then I'm just going to lift this up like that. And this one with it, like that. All right. So now that basically creates a situation where if somebody is looking at this, they know that it's going to rotate around that piece in there, right? And the other thing I want to do here, let me solve this out. No, it's got the lip, it's good. Is I'm going to drop a bevel on this edge as well. Here we go. So it's just not that harsh. And I mean, it might be good to separate these out, but I'm just going to leave it as is for now. All right, that looks good. Let's mirror and weld it to the other side. And there are the arms that way. Now, all right. Yeah. Let's see. Wrong line. These prog loops are so clean and satisfying. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I work. It's a blessing and a curse as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so this is good over here. I'm liking what's happening there. I just kind of need something going this way from the bottom. I have to figure that out. And I had this, but I decided to do something else with it. Let me see it. Solo. This piece right here. Solo it again. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate this and use that exact same shape. Again, these are all placeholders, these orange pieces. I'm probably going to refine them further. I kind of like this little bit of thing happening there, but I don't want it to fight. So I want it to go to where that, so that kind of gives this a little bit more of a definition that is where the rotation is going to happen. This is working. If this happens, by the way, if you're working in ZBrush and then when you move, like it just focuses on those, it's because you accidentally clicked on this, where is it? Dynamic over here under, no, that's not the one. Which one is, oh, this one. Under solo, there's this dynamic. If you click that, then when you move something, it just moves, you know, it kind of hides everything else and just moves that. It's frustrating. These are the kinds of things like when I'm teaching ZBrush and in colleges and schools and whatnot, when I go around the classroom, you know, and during lab times or whatever, those are the kind of the struggles that students usually have, is like, well, why is it doing this now? I just found out something today that is kind of sad for me, is that one of my students who was really promising, who was really, really good at what she did, is deciding not to pursue a career in CG just because of what's happening in the industry and all the job losses and everything, which is very, very disappointing. And I'm hoping that things will get better. for everybody soon. Here, mouse, is there any problem to you? No, I'm using the pen tablet. Sometimes I just, my hand goes to the mouse for clicking on something or whatever, and I just forget to get back into the pen tablet. So, you can blame me for that. But I'm using a pen tablet or a pen display. And it's, I use the Cintiq. I also use the Sense Labs, and both of them are top notch. I prefer the Cintiq just because it has this radial menu that I use all the time, right? And the folks at Sense Labs have told me that they are going to incorporate that, but it still hasn't happened. I don't know why, but I'm hoping that it will someday. They're good folks at Sense Labs as well. So both companies are good, and I recommend pen tablets from both, and I also recommend regular tablets from both. And I also recommend the iPad. ZBrush is available on the iPad as well, and it's pretty powerful. It's got ZModeler. I mean, whenever I'm at a client site or on a train or on a plane or at a doctor's waiting room or whatever, wherever I have a free minute, I usually have it with me, and I can get a nice amount of work done. And what's amazing is that I don't even notice the wait time. So, yeah, it's pretty rough out there. It really is. I don't know what the deal is. I think a lot of companies are not hiring and laying people off because they want to force whoever's left to incorporate AI, and it's kind of a way to pressure them to do it. It's not going to work. I mean, eventually they'll figure that out. It's just, I don't know how long it's going to take and how much blood we have to spill before they get their act together. I think the day doesn't go by where I'm not talking to somebody and arguing with people about AI. I think some people think, just because they can type a prompt, they're artists all of a sudden, which cracks me up. I don't think a lot of the AI bros, and I don't know if that's actually a name, but I'm making it up. But I don't know if these guys realize that, they think they're going to get a freebie, and they're not. It's not going to be that easy for them to be able to do the kinds of things we do. Somebody who does what I do with AI can cause a lot more damage than they can. I mean, I would be a better hire eventually. They will not deliver, and they'll be let go, and they'll hire somebody like me to do the AI work, which I won't do because it's just too boring. I don't want my life to be typing in prompts all day. I just don't. I've looked at the tools. I've played with them. There are some interesting things, and I can see certain areas where it might be helpful. But I think what they're thinking it's going to do is just not going to happen. It's just not. I custom key a bit. Can't do that. Yeah, you can. Of course you can. Yeah, no free lunches. Yeah. So doing hotkeys. I mean, I'm always, my one hand is on my keyboard, and at some point I'll put a camera to show my setup here. But one hand is on the keyboard, right, and one hand is using the pen, the stylus, right there. And I have menus that I've done. I've created some menus of my own. Up here you can see them. And if I click on this, for example, it'll pop out that menu. If I click on here, it'll pop up that menu. So with 2 clicks, I can get to whatever brush, whatever item that I want. And then I've got 3 items here that damn standard I use all the time, H polish and move. So I can get to those pretty quickly. I have hotkeys for these too, but I kind of like this way of doing it. All right, so we're about an hour in, and we're looking good. I think I'm good with this cylindrical kind of thing that I did here. One thing I'm kind of considering, and I don't know did I group these together? Let's see. No. I wonder if making these smaller would make it better, but I kind of like that they're big and chunky, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. So let's move on to another part. Let's move on to the legs. I think I spent a lot of time on the shoulder here. Let's do some work here on the legs. And by the way, to understand how these work, I usually do a season. A season is a project. So in one season, I do one project. And this is the 12th season. So I've done 12 different projects on ZBrush Live. I think so. I might have messed up the numbers at some point, but I think it's either 11 or 12 different ones. And then there are episodes. And episodes are like working on this. And I try to finish things in about maybe 10 episodes is what my initial intent was, but I've never, been able to. I think I might have maybe once or twice, but usually it takes me a lot more episodes to do it. I mean, I'm okay with going further now that I've got my other stream going as well. I think it works out good because that's a whole other thing I work on. So people aren't just like seeing me work on the same thing forever. Which, I mean, it could be good, it could be bad. I watch Marco Plouffe's Twitch streams, and if you guys like robots, you should see his stuff. He's amazing. He's really, really good. He works a little differently than I do, and he also has some amazing results that he gets. But his thing goes on for almost a year on one project, and people always ask him like, hey, when are you going to do something else or whatever? And I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why you would want that, but maybe if people get bored of one thing with me, they can always watch my other stream. So I kind of go back and forth. But, I think I end the streams on the topic that I'm working on because either I'm at a point where I think, I don't want to go any further. I think I've kind of reached the objective of what I wanted to do, or if it's done, right? So, and there's the adage of art is never done, it's just abandoned. I don't know if you guys have heard that, and that's kind of a true thing. All right, let's turn polyframe off here. All right, I'm trying to get some interesting shape going here for the legs, something unconventional. And one thing that I kind of have not been doing is I've not been looking at my reference, and I should do that. Just to kind of, I think reference is good just to, like if you are going back and forth on something, it really grounds you. And I have a nice reference sheet going here for this one. Very random, not as organized as I usually like to have them be, but I think it works out good. But another thing I want to do here is I'm going to hide these whatchamacallit, these arm shields, and I don't know if I put those in a group. I hope I did, or a folder. I don't know if I did. Here, let's just select one. Where is it? It's up here. Mac. Nope, they're not in their own folder. All right, I'll just move them into a folder. I think that's a good thing because I tend to want to hide these every once in a while so I can kind of get the gesture of the model from the side. So, oh, I don't want to move it there. Jeez, I can't. Out. Oh, man. All right, let's just put it there. Okay, that's good. And then there are the screws as well. Let's move that there. Put these in their own folder. All right, 1, 2. Yeah, I just wanted to get to the side here so I can see the gesture of the stuff I'm working on. The legs. All right. I'm also going to hide the arms, at least this part. Just so I have just can see the legs unobstructed. All right, let's see. You guys are saying stuff. Tube leg. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that might be an idea to have tubes as legs. But I kind of want to stay with this, I mean, again, this is a defense robot or like a fighting robot. It's basically like a bodyguard. So they'd be like a, I don't know, like a famous person or somebody in a motorcade or whatever, and these robots would be walking along with it and just protecting the kind of the principal person. So you know, tube legs might be a good idea, but I think the shape language I have so far, it might not work well. But yeah, but that, you know, I mean, you know, there could be a version that it does have more tube legs. I'm trying to get something interesting looking here. I'm actually, the functionality is already there. I just want some sort of something that's going to be gesturally, that's going to work gesturally. So I think this is working. I kind of like these two pieces like that, and I'm probably going to put a cylindrical joint here as well. By the way, a really good robot design that I adore is the K2SO robot from Andor. It's so well done. It's just such a well done design. I love that. And the proportions of it are not right. Like, there's so much broken with it in a good way that I think it's a really good way to do that robot. Yeah, it is. It's, you know, like it somehow doesn't make sense, but it does in a way. But yeah, it's good. K2SO, whoever did that design, hats off to them. They, you know, really nailed it. They really did. All right, so here I'm going to see if I can separate out this front part over here. Split hidden. I just lost my undos for this, but that's okay. And are these two pieces or one? Are there two? Are they connected? Oh, look at that. That's not good. Okay, let's just see if I can fix this. Fix mesh. Okay, and then no, you see this is kind of a problematic thing. I'm going to turn on double. This little connection here is going to cause me issues, so I'm going to fix that by going to let's see, knife curve, and I think there is a thing where you doesn't remove it. So knife curve, and I think spacebar and split to parts. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Okay, so that's top part is one, and then do this to the bottom. All right, and then this should be its own. It's kind of weird what just happened because it just put colors in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick the orange color and fill objects so it's all the same color so I can see what's going on. Turn on polyframe, and all right, so these bottom parts should, these parts should be their own thing. Let's see if I can separate these out. Yep. All right, and just invert this, delete hidden, and we are golden. Now this created some weird janky geometry here, but I really don't care. Again, these are all placeholders. I can completely retopo these parts, so I'm not too worried about them. I just want to be able to get the shapes that I want. Right now it's all kind of design and gestural, so I don't really care about what's going on. And I still I do want to keep these together in one subtool, just because I want to work on them both at the same time. All right. I could Dynamesh it. See, the problem with Dynamesh is it creates too many points to move around, and if I'm working on something that's hard surface and planar, I'd rather have the least amount of geometry so I can get those shapes, right? But I could do Dynamesh, and you know, I was talking about Marco earlier. That's what he does. He basically you know, he basically does Dynamesh's models and then work on them that way. And yeah, I mean, I could use that workflow. I might at some point, but right now I'm kind of just sticking with this. It's because it's giving me kind of what I want. Excuse me. Oh no, let's not have this cough start. One of the things that is important is even though I'm making a robot, it's always good to know anatomy and to follow anatomical rules just to get what makes sense. Oh, still a knife. Don't want to do that. Do want to do this. I think the challenge is to make robots be humanoid as well as non-humanoid at the same time. It's always a kind of a struggle to get both to work. Oh, you know what? The other thing that you're hearing, I should mention this too. The clicking that you're hearing also is my keyboard. I've got a clicky keyboard. I've got one of these Logitech. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can lift it up. I've got a clicky keyboard, a Logitech keyboard that makes the clicking sound. So, this is the mouse click, and this is the keyboard. So, I've got a clicky keyboard, and the reason why I have a clicky keyboard, by the way, is because I've been around for a while, and I used to use an IBM keyboard that I loved, and I still have it. It's like one of the old IBM kind of really, it's like metal, it's like really heavy, it's got like, it's such an industrially built thing, and it has these clicky keyboards or whatever, and it has a very distinct sound. I mean, this one is okay. It's got the blue kind of clicky, I guess blue clicky is what they call it. It's okay, but that keyboard has a very unique sound, and it's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad I have it, and it still works. I just don't use it because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to. I mean, I could probably, I could probably use it. I could probably use it every day, and it's made in such an industrial level that it would probably be fine. But I don't want to. I don't want to chance it. So every once in a while, I take it out and use it. But for the most part, it's just one of those nostalgic devices I have. And yeah, so that's the clicks that you're hearing is that, but mostly I'm using a stylus to do the work. And if I kind of get distracted and start using the mouse every once in a while, I got to remind myself. It is a collector's item. It totally is. I think you can still find them on eBay, but I think they're probably not in good shape. And mine is okay. I think it's I mean, there's a little bit of yellowing and whatever that happens to these things, but it's it's not bad. And I have a cover for it, which is really interesting. Like I bought a plastic cover that goes over the keys and keeps it really nice and clean. Another thing that I have that's really cool is an old Microsoft mouse, like the one with the metal ball, one of the initial ones that they released. I have one of those too. Like it's like it's a big ball bearing is the ball. It's not optical. I do have a bunch of non-optical mice as well. So I used to work there and have a nice collection of old Microsoft stuff that their hardware is just kind of like they used to have so much hardware and they don't anymore. They have the Surface and all the things that go along with it, but for the most part, I think they're kind of out of the hardware business. I think they did that right about when I was leaving. Because they had keyboards, they had like all sorts of keyboards, they had all sorts of mice. They had game controllers. I still have some of those. They had a really amazing joystick, like force feedback joystick. They had like this controller to play strategy games. That's pretty cool. They had this one kind of controller, like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, but it swiveled, right? And that was pretty cool too. They were like a lot of experimental, really amazing things that they came up with, but they abandoned it really fast. I think they realized that it's not the business they want to be in, and all that went into the Xbox. All the gaming stuff went into the Xbox, and then all the business stuff went into the Surface. And I think they still have Surface mice and stuff. They still have a really cool mouse. Microsoft does, called the Arc mouse, and it's this like flat thing, and then it snaps and then becomes and so you can put it in your backpack flat. And then when you take it out, you just kind of, the curved thing snaps, and then you basically can use it. It's a 2-button mouse. I think it's got a little strip that you can use as the roller too, but I think they still have that. I think that's still around. But yeah, they used to be, it used to be a big deal, and they just got out of that business so fast. And I think now what's replaced it is probably Logitech, and that's why I have a Logitech mouse and a Logitech keyboard. But there's others too. Like, I don't want to, there's other companies that make gaming keyboards and mice and whatnot. Yeah, I know the mouse I have is a pretty neat one too. It's a Logitech one. It's old. It's pretty old, but it works really well, and I can adjust the sensitivity and everything. It's great. I remember, I'm gonna be dating myself here, but I was with Microsoft when mice weren't a thing. Like, most PC users didn't use mice. So I remember I used to go to stores, computer stores at the time, and show the people the mice, and they were like, well, who would use this? And they didn't get it until the graphical user interface took over. So I mean, they had mice before Windows. For Excel and whatnot. But it took a while to teach people how to use mice. I remember, like, I was talking to a room full of there's this store called Computerland, and I was talking to a group of the executives and their clients about mice or whatever, and they were like all saying, oh, whatever. And they had computers out in the showroom, and those had mice, and all these older businessmen or whatever, they were like, oh, who's going to use this, and we don't need it, and it's just extra expense, and we have to train people how to use them, blah blah blah, whatever. So I get out of there all frustrated, and like, one of the executives or one of the store people had some kid there, and the kid was using the mouse and was using it perfectly with no issues. So that was kind of an interesting experience that I had, which is having the future generation know what it's about, and older generations being stodgy and not wanting to adopt something new. All right, I think this is looking good. I know I've been kind of going back and forth on this quite a bit, so I think I'm just gonna accept what it is for now, and I might come back to it later. Arms look good. I kind of like this angle here. I think that's working for me. I've also taken the liberty of not having this be human anatomy and having two hinge joints over here. So I think I'm just kind of going a little bit unconventional there, which is fine. And then this over here. What's weird is I'm working on another mech on a personal project with a friend, and I found a reference that really did this part well, but it's in another reference sheet. I'm going to see if I can load that real quick. Let me see if I can. It's about 8:30. That's great. I'm going to work on the head next, but let me see if I can find that other image real quick. Oh, what? Oh, sorry. How'd that move there? All right. Open recent. Let's discard the changes on this one, and let's see if I can find the thing I was looking for. So there's so many different directions I can go. I mean, I've picked one, but there are others that are pretty attractive looking. I guess I didn't keep it in this. Oh man, I didn't save the reference set with that in it. Oh well, not a problem. I'll probably find it for next time. So I just will work on the chest this time around. Okay, let's move this over. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I really miss well-made tech too. I know exactly what you're saying there. Translucent tech, yeah, like the IMAX and all that. Exactly, that was kind of cool. All right, let's work on the head a little bit. Move off of the legs. We've been there for a while. I like how this is shaping up. And let me bring up my head references over here and start refining this. All right, this is, I like the kind of the shape of this. Speaking of which, you know, this kind of reminds me of the head of the robot in Solo, and I forget what she was called, but yeah. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to make things planar. So I'm going to go to one, mask polygon. I think the problem is, you know, just numbers wise, I think there's a lot more people using PCs and computers now where it is difficult to, you know, like it would be hard to justify making those kind of well-made mice and devices just because, you know, I think there's just so much technology develops so fast, and then there would be so much kind of waste. That I think they've just kind of opted to go with more, you know, perishable stuff. I mean, I'm sure there are warehouses and not warehouses, but landfills just full of that old technology, like beige PC boxes. Remember that? Yeah, I do have some interesting stories to talk about beige boxes, that's for sure. It was really strange because I think, you know, the only person that kind of understood the fact that computers are objects that, you know, can create a emotional connection with the users was Steve Jobs. He really understood the fact that, like, you know, the users need to have some sort of a connection with their PCs, so that's why they want them to look better, to have them be personalized or whatever. But everybody else just kind of looked at computers as, you know, like a device that everybody's going to use for work, and they didn't really care if it looked good or not. Like, they didn't care about the emotional attachments, and I think Apple did really well with with creating that connection with users, and to the point where they charge so much more money for their computers, but users still pay it because they want that level of connection with their devices. And I think Steve Jobs understood that really well, where all the other computer vendors, did not really get it. I still think they don't. Like, if you get I think HP did a good job with the Z820 and the Z8, the one that came after it. And those were designed by Porsche Design, and they were really good computers. I actually do have some of those. But I think it's just a matter of, people don't want to spend, they want to spend the minimum amount of money on a computer, so they don't really care what it looks like because it's under the desk or whatever, so most consumers will not pay extra to get a computer that looks good. Designers will, and that's why a lot of artists and designers use Macs, because they have that connection. Whereas, if you are working in an accounting office or a hedge fund or whatever, those guys don't care about what a computer looks like. They only do if it has status associated with it. I should say that. Which is okay too. I mean, that's fine. I've been in executives' offices where they have those big Surface things, like the big Surface computers that are like super expensive. It's a big screen, the computer's in the screen or whatever. They have those, and it's just a status thing. It's just they just have it to establish some sort of intimidation or whatever factor, but it doesn't matter to them. They probably barely use it, or if they use it, they just use it to browse the web or look stuff up or look at reports and whatnot. Do we have a lot more on blockout? Well, I mean, it's kind of, it's one of these things where I'm just working, this will get detailed pretty fast. This part, I usually spend a lot of time in the blockout in what I'm doing now, just because if I can get things to work now, they'll work later, right? I don't want to be like adding details and doing, a lot of unnecessary work and then come back and, it not working. So right now is kind of a very important part for getting things to work correctly, and that's done with very small number of polygons, and just very simply kind of getting the planes to work, getting the form language to work, and once I've established that, then the rest is pretty pretty straightforward. All right, so I need to establish a neck for this guy. I've got this little thing that I made that I was going to use in other parts, again with my cylinder kit, but it's in the back here, and that works really well, but I think it needs something else over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and create or append a Polymesh 3D, or insert a Polymesh 3D. Let's do an insert. And I'm going to, from my primitives kit, just choose a simple cube. And again, unified. I don't know why this, I think I need to rescale this thing. I haven't done the scaling portion to this mech yet. I'll probably do it next time. It'll be a nice thing to show how you can do the scale, so that whenever I'm bringing in these kitbash kit parts, they're not like tiny. I mean, it's easy enough to just fix them with Unify, but it could work much better. All right, let's do this. Transparency and ghost. symmetry on. I was talking to a friend last night about shows and whatnot, and he's right. Like, we're going through Andor withdrawals. That show was just so good, so good. The first season was amazing, and the second season did not disappoint either. I'm hoping those guys will continue to make Star Wars properties, because they know how to do it right. All right, let's see. All right, let's see what the... Again, I don't really, I'm just putting in a simple cube here just to kind of get an idea of what it is. Of course, later on I'll put something a lot more sophisticated there, but I just want to get that kind of thing to work here. So that's one way, and then I need this to swivel the other way too, so I'm going to put another piston in its place. So let's go ahead and bring up the cylindrical kit again. And again, I don't really care about the top and bottom. I care about the side, so I have to find one of my good side ones. And I think I have one here that'll work just right for this. About this one. So insert Polymesh 3D, W, then this. Let's unify it. There it is. And again, see, this is one of those that's just like really low res. But again, it's very versatile and can do a lot of different things. So I'm just going to make this thinner, smaller. And they're all sub D, so I can press D here and just like get a completely different shape than what I had before. I mean, not completely different, but different enough. Do this. All right, that will be the neck. Maybe a little bit thicker. Something like that. Push it down to there. Okay. And this whole head could probably like just come down and like hide under inside here, so it could just kind of lift up, look around, and then just kind of pop back down into the body. All right, that's looking good. All right, do I want to do anything else on the head here? I think I like the idea of including some sort of a camera or something in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And for that, I'm just going to put in, let's use one of these guys here, and turn symmetry off. Okay, something like this. Split unmasked points, go to it, and let's see if I can find a good place for this. Again, it really helps that these are good topology, so I can, make this longer or whatever. With most kit bash parts that you buy, they're not sub D. There are some that are, and they're really good ones, but most of them are not. So you basically have to use that exact thing, that exact shape, unless that works for what you're doing. Which a lot of times for me doesn't, because it usually has the design language of the kit bash maker, and also it's not versatile. Some of them are good, but then basically you have to either follow that design language or figure out a way to merge it with yours. But since they're not sub D, it's hard to do. I'm trying to figure out if I want this to be under or over. I think under works better. It's kind of not centered, so let's get it centered. All right, so what I did is I just snapped it to the home. I'll just get the angle to be right, and then hopefully now it is centered. It's not. Okay, so the way to fix this is instead of inserting it the way I did, I'm just going to go ahead and press W again and put a new one in there and unify it. So now I know for a fact that it is centered and everything is good. It's pointing the other way, which could be interesting too. Let's see if this works. There. All right. Let's lift this up to here, like that. Now the other thing also is that these parts are polygrouped, so I'm just going to go to solo here. And what I want to do is I want to pull out a kind of a circle kind of to be inside here. So what I can do is just go to this and Q mesh and polygroup island, and then if I click here and drag out, oops, I hit Control S instead of, right, so I just want to Q mesh, not point actions, but it keeps going to point actions. Here we go. Polygon actions, Q mesh, polygroup island. Okay, and I'm just going to do this. Now this is going to it's going to be tricky to do this, but I can do it. Actually, let me save first, just because it kind of stuck for a minute, and I've been you know, you guys notice that I do these things, you know, these streams, and like I spend 2 hours working on these things, and sometimes I get a crash, but most of the times I can go on forever. So I'm pulling this out, which is going to take a minute to figure out, but I'm going to hit Control so that I have a separate piece. And again, it's thinking about it, but it's going to do it in a minute. Come on. Did it do it? All right. I'm so glad I saved beforehand. Okay, so now it just pulled it out like this, which is not what I wanted it to do. Let me solo this out. Actually, I'm just going to separate it. So I just want basically this shape, right, which is inside. And the way I'm going to do it is by Q meshing it, but I think this one is too high res, so another way to do the same thing is just to duplicate this. So notice all how, you know, this is all polygrouped, so I could be doing all sorts of interesting things. But QMesh, for some reason, is kind of struggling with this, so not a problem. I'll just duplicate it, right? And with the duplicate, I'll just do this, and then delete hidden, and I have what I need, which is this, right? And then I'll just make this smaller and give it some thickness with dynamic subdivision. Where are you, dynamic subdivision? Here we go. Dynamic, no smoothness, but thickness. What is going on here? Oh, it's got QGrid on. That's what's going on. We don't need QGrid. We just need thickness. Like that. Okay, good, good, good. And then solo that out. All right, that's perfect. And I just want to, you know, have this be. Let's go ahead and apply that dynamic subdiv. And hello. Let's give it more, a little bit more width, like that. I mean, I guess I could have also inserted a cylinder, which probably is what I should have done. which would have been much better, but I think this is fine. I guess I just needed to prove the point that I do have polygroups on my kit bash kit that you can manipulate and do stuff with. All right, here we go. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's looking good. Do I want to keep this or not? I don't know if I like where it is. I'm going to try and see if I can do the pizza boxes thing with this. So here, W, pizza boxes. Let's see if this kind of sorted itself out. No, I wonder, do I have something on that's preventing me from doing this? What is it? There might be a setting that I have on that is causing this not to work. And I don't know what that is. I guess I could just merge these and move them together like I did before. So this and this, merge down. Okay, and just move these to somewhere else. I don't know if I like it where it was. I kind of like it more. Maybe have something be asymmetrical, off center like this. See, this is all experimentation. Trying to figure out a thing that will work for it. And let me solo this out. Again, it's all good topology, so I can do things like, I just want to move that back part further back, like this. And I can see like I think I selected it wrong, but it's okay. It does get the point across of what I wanted it to. Let me see what I did. Let's turn on polyframe. Yeah, it should just, I don't have perspective on it. Should have just done what I needed it, which is just these guys right here. Okay. Yeah, it's doing this weird thing. I think I inadvertently am selecting, here we go, something like this. There we go. I think that should do it. Yep, here we go. Right, and then move this back. You can do so many interesting things with cylindrical parts, gun barrels, lightsabers, all sorts of stuff. Let's move this over to here. I'm trying to see where this makes sense. I think maybe it's too big. Let's make it smaller. Polyframe off. How about if it's smaller and asymmetrical? Will that work? Where did it go? There we go. That works. I'm going to give it a face. I didn't want to give it a face, but it looks like maybe I will. I should. Let's see what it looks like with a face. Oh, didn't want to do that. No. Yeah, I still kind of like the idea of keeping it non-symmetrical somehow. So I think this might work. It looks like it's got, what do you call those, monocles or? That works right there. Perfect. A lot of design is just figuring out these things that I'm doing now. It's just like what makes sense. try and see if it makes sense to have this happen. Maybe here. I don't know if I want it to flare out, but I definitely think this is a good place to have it end up. All right, so that's done. I like that a lot. What it's doing though is it's kind of conflicting with this kind of really neat design I have over here. So let's see if I can. See, I was happy with something and then I noticed it messed with something else that I liked, so I have to move it over. All right, that keeps what I had there, but moves it there. But what if I just moved all the way down here? Center it. Yeah, the Cyclops thing isn't working either. All right, I'm not happy with any of these at all. So I'm just going to make this a lot smaller and just put it in here. I might create a bunch of them and just kind of do this. And let's try something here. All right, that works. That works much better. One thing I want to do is move this one forward a bit. There. Okay. Yep. All right. So the asymmetry didn't work too good. Do I have an art station? Yes, I do. As I mentioned earlier, the best thing to do is go to my Instagram, right? So, and definitely drop a follow if you can. I'd appreciate that. And then in my Instagram, there's a link tree, and it links to all of my stuff. And here's my art station, which basically is the same thing as my portfolio. So there's my art station, and I've got a bunch of things, like for example, I do cars as well. So here's this car, which is kind of like a flying spinner type of a car. I do a lot of robots. Here's this mech right here, which is, and by the way, if you click on it, it's not just that image. There's a bunch of different renders and compositions and whatnot that you can look through. So yeah, just go to my Instagram, follow, and then after you follow, click on the link tree, and then you'll get all of the stuff I work on. And again, my latest stuff is on my Instagram. That's the first place I post it to. I also post it to Facebook, but like Facebook is, you know, kind of dying. I hate to say that. I mean, I still kind of keep up with a lot of friends there, but it's almost like a ghost town. But mostly I post everything on Instagram first, and then my ArtStation is a little bit stale. I need to update it with some of the newer stuff I have, and I will do that soon. I keep saying that, but I need to actually do it. All right, let's pick, I'm going to pick orange here. It's always good to use colors just to separate things out, and fill object, and then let's go back to white here. What happened to my cylinders? They got hidden. Okay. Why is this darker? So just pick this color, right? Yeah. And then pick this object and fill object. And oh, are these just the old material still? They probably are. I probably just filled it with the material and the color. Doesn't matter. All right, I think this is kind of around where I'm going to leave it for this time around. Sorry I did a lot of, like, you know, for lack of a better word, pixel fudging today. And but I definitely do. I am establishing the shape that I want. I think it's getting to where it needs to get to. So last thing I want to do, and you guys can give me your last comments or questions or whatever you have while I'm doing this. I just want to do a little bit of render. I do that every time. I think it's a good way to kind of end a stream, is just to pick a good composition for it, and it's kind of a satisfying way to you know, leave a subject matter. And I'm going to go back to my Tintin material here. I call it Tintin because I made a Tintin when Pixelogic was making their NPR shader. I made a Tintin shader and a Tintin character as well. You can see it. I think you can see it in my Instagram. Actually, here, I'll show it to you guys. I think I have it here. I probably will have to scroll for days, but I'll find it. It's so funny. I look at all my stuff and it's still valid. I look at my AI stuff and I just want to puke. Okay, it should be coming up soon here. It was around this time. Here we go. Yeah, so I just made like these Tintin renders a while back. I love Belgian comics, so Tintin is definitely one of my favorites. All right, this is starting to look really, really good. I like where it is. I could probably hit a BPR on this. Let's do that. Okay, that's okay. The thing about the Tintin shader is that it doesn't really look good with what's going on here unless I add some filters to it, and I'll do that real quick. Render, BPR filters. Okay, I think, do I have any? No, I don't. So let's just add a sharpen. That usually helps things a bit. Okay, that's good. And then let's add a couple other ones here, which are outline edge and outline cavity. So there's outline cavity. Let's do both interior and exterior, and also let's do outline edge. And let's do interior exterior on that too. Okay, that's good. And then one other one that I usually like to do, which makes it pop for some reason, is this radial overlay. But you have to tweak it. So let's move the up down to there. Okay, that looks good. And fall off. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Radius. And then the next thing I'll do is move the light maybe over to here and do another render. And there, okay, that kind of looks good. So that's kind of a, you know, whenever I'm going to end the session, I do a render just to kind of feel satisfied with what I'm doing. It gives me a chance to look at the things that I did and see if I like it. The good thing is that this render happens pretty fast, so I can, you know, do a few of them. And usually I save these. I'm not going to save them now, but I usually drop a save on every one of these. Like you can see here that, like, you know, whatever angle this thing is looked at, it's got to, you know, stand out. And so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. And all I need to do is just, you know, change the camera angle. I can also change the, right now I'm using an 85mm lens, but I could try a 50 or a 35 to see how that looks. And then I can move the light around. So let's see what it looks like if the light's above. And yeah, so this is kind of like doing the sketch and it's developing it, and I think I'm liking what I'm seeing, so I'm on the right track, and I think this is where I will leave it. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. How do you select colors? Are they ready first? Okay, that's a really good question. I'll answer it. Can you help me insert a symmetrical model? Often end up inserting it centrally, then adjusting one side and mirroring it, which is quite inconvenient for work. I hope you can explain. Am I using hard surface tools? Yes, I am. I am using hard surface tools. Okay, so insert a symmetrical model. Inserting it centrally, then adjusting one side and mirroring it. Yeah, so basically what I would do if you want to insert a symmetrical model is, I'll do that here. I'll just go ahead and say, let's append, or, you know, that'll add it to the end here. Let's add, you say append polymesh 3D. Okay, so there's the polymesh 3D. Right now its symmetry is on, so you can see that the gizmo is on the side here, right? And if I wanted to insert a symmetrical model, right, it's not going to work right. So what I would do is I'd turn symmetry off. I would center my gizmo on it and move it to the side. I'm on a whole other thing, aren't I? I am. Right here, let's select the polymesh 3. Okay, so I just move it to the side, right? So right now it's not symmetrical, okay? And then I'll just do mirror and weld symmetrically. Now make sure that you don't have local symmetry on, right? So LSIM here is off. There it is. And if I want to insert the mesh, like let's say I want to insert one of my pieces or whatever, here I'll just go into the like one of the pro things here. And let's say I want to insert one of these guys, right? So there it is. If I unify it, there it is. So now notice that it just inserts it in the middle, and that's not what I want. So all I do is just go to the center here and then move it over. And oops, rotate it this way, and now I have it. And once I have it where I want it, I'll just mirror and weld it, and then it's over on the other side. Okay. So does that answer your question? I hope that does. DEV or Dev. Baxter is saying, how do you select colors? Okay, I'll show you that as well. Do I pre-sketch these? No, I don't. See, that's the thing. That's what I don't do. I don't pre-sketch any of the stuff because I do my sketching in 3D, and that's you know, that's kind of my superpower, so to speak, because I don't I'm not one of those folks that just sketches it and then builds it. I do the building and sketching in 3D. Which a lot of studios don't like because they feel like it wastes time. I personally don't think it does. I think it works. I think I can create something much better. And I'm designing in 3D because a lot of times, you know, artists get stuff from 2D artists, and then they have to figure out how to make it in 3D and how to make it work. So I do sketch, I do paint, I do traditional work. I love drawing with pencil and whatnot, but for most of my current work, I basically do it all in 3D. Okay, so picking colors, the way I do that is pretty cool. I use this plugin called ZColor, which comes with ZBrush, so you click on that. And that opens up, it's kind of like a separate thing. So it opens up this window. And I have a bunch of swatches here. So it comes with these initial swatches, which are like primary, strong, oversaturated colors. But you can load more of them, and I kind of have a bunch here, and you can see each one of them has a name. And so if you go to File here and go to Open or Append or Import, I usually use Append because I want to keep what's there. You can load in stuff from Adobe Color, and I'll see if I can get to that real quick here to show you how that works. Where are you? Did I close my... I did not close it, did I? I didn't. Okay. So here, if you go to Adobe Color, I think there is a, yeah, here we go. And if you go to Adobe Color and you go to these things, Explore Color Themes, right? There's a bunch of them, and I think you can go to a page where there's even more of these, and I'm trying to figure out where to get to, how to get to it. Let's see, I click on one, maybe that'll just take me. Okay, here we go. So you click on these and you kind of see some images here, you know, so I picked like greenish images, and I could, you can kind of here pick something along the lines of what you want. So let's say I want something along the lines of this. I guess it goes to this anyway. And then you can put in words like summer, for example, or vaporwave. Let's say you're going to do a vaporwave thing, or you're going to do synthwave, or happy, or luxury, or whatever. Like I'll just say robots. Okay, and then you can go in here and find something that looks good. Like let's say you like the colors of this robot. You click on this. Right, and here you can download as ASE. You just do that, and you can load those ASEs right into this color palette. And then you can just have those colors, and then you can apply them to different sections. So for example, here, if I wanted to use a color motif, I'll just go over here and say, okay, I'm going to pick this over here, solo it out. Let's say I don't really like that orange. I want to pick a different one, maybe this one. Right, so set color, that sets it as the color, And then I just go over here and I just want to make sure RGB is on. It is. Fill object, and now I've got that orange for that piece. So that's how I that's how I do the coloring. Yeah, it really it really helps out. And then on your YouTube page, yeah, you can check out. I don't really. I'm not doing alien design. Right now, I'm doing something more kind of medieval or fantasy. I'm doing a dragon and a dragon rider, but eventually I will do an alien. I'll do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, just follow me and make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get to be a Twitch affiliate. So if enough of you watch my Twitch streams, I think that's how I can do it. So I would appreciate you doing that if you can. That would be great. Here, I'm going to choose a different color here. Set color. Yeah, you can see here that I'm getting some really interesting color combinations just from that ASC loading in the Adobe Adobe Color website. All right, so hopefully that answers the questions. Again, thank you all that joined live. I appreciate it when you do. It makes the sessions go a lot faster, a lot smoother. And join me again in a couple of Fridays, not this next Friday, but the Friday after, for me to continue working on this robot. And join me on my Twitch stream or go to my YouTube channel to watch the other stuff that I've done. And with that, I'll wish everybody a good day or night or whatever whatever time of day it is where you are.